12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, here we go. Good morning to the West Coast. Good afternoon to the East Coast. This is the Reprint presented by Lenox Parker, and I am one half of the conversation today. My mic continues to be muted. Okay, this is Christal Jordan Jennings, editor-in-chief for Lenox Parker, and I'm looking forward to today's conversation. You guys know the Reprint comes to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We are just a subsidiary of Lenox Parker magazine, hoping to bring you today's trending topics and news ideas with a little bit of perspective to them, as opposed to just the trending things that people are not able to get a little context. So that's what we're here for. And pretty soon my publisher and co-host Victor Flavius will be joining me. So I want to welcome you guys in. Go ahead and come in and have a seat. Good morning, that girl KSA. Thank you for being here. Or good afternoon, depending on where you are. It is 12 o'clock here, actually 12:02 here in Atlanta. And I'm excited. We've got a long, but I believe very productive day ahead. The first thing I want to talk about today, because we were initially supposed to have a guest here today, but she is doing what producers and founders do. She is about the business of creating an amazing event. I am talking about the Pink Awards, hosted by April Love. If you all were able to see our State of the Black Woman here at Lenox Parker, you were able to get to see a little bit of April Love's genius. But as a cancer survivor, a 14-year cancer survivor, in fact, she has created an event titled the Pink Awards. It happens every year here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the second. And we wanted to play a little video that will allow you all to see a little bit about the awards, and also make sure that if you are in Atlanta, know that you are welcome to come out. You can get your tickets. Tickets are selling fast. It's going to be held at an auditorium at Morehouse. They are going to be at the Ray Charles Performing Arts Center at Morehouse College this Saturday, the 18th at 7 p.m. This year's honorees for the Pink Awards are CeeLo Green, Courtney Adelaide, Lisa Cunningham, Derek Hayes, and Pinky Cole. So they've got husband and wife being honored with Derek and Pinky. Courtney Adelaide, who is an entrepreneur extraordinaire, known for building some of the biggest hair care brands in urban hair, and then also Lisa Cunningham, who is a friend of this channel. She is one of one of the voices behind Black Women's Health Imperative. And we all know the indisputable CeeLo Green and all that he is as a cultural icon and a part of the original Dungeon family and all of his contributions to music. So it's going to be an amazing event, but more importantly, for a great cause. The show is going to be co-hosted by actress Breely Evans and also comedian Jonathan Slocum. There will be performances by Dondria and Algebra. So it's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing show. And there's Victor. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning. I'm sorry. I don't know what the problem was. I logged on to StreamYard this morning, and for some reason, it wouldn't let the camera on the mic on. I don't know. I do the same thing every single time. Right. I log in, I come on, and it tells me my camera isn't working. And I'm like, I'm panicking away. I'm like, what is going on? But anyhow, I'm here.
Technology.
How's everybody doing?
Everybody,
good morning
I think
to the East Coast.
Yeah, people here in the chat. I'm going to play a little clip from the Pink Awards. We know that April, she is running around doing all the things that founders and producers do. But we want to make sure to talk to people a little bit about this amazing event. Basically, the mission stems from April's own journey as a 14-year breast cancer survivor after being diagnosed on Christmas Eve 2009 with stage 3 ductal carcinoma, breast cancer. And she has taken her pain and turned it into purpose. And here's a little snippet from the Pink Awards, and then we're going to get into today's news.
Ladies and gentlemen,
for the people of God to make their presence felt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Y'all take this in. Look at this. Look at this.
Prince is my father.
Yeah, I was going to say, your outfit makes my hands want to do like this. Yes.
It's time to bring up the first honoree of the evening. And Carl Payne, you know
Yes,
this man well.
we're talking about Mr. Oh, boy.
Jazzy fan.
you survived. You woke up this morning. You know, millions didn't make it. But I was one of the ones who did. I see the difference in this building. Black excellence ain't even a big enough word.
Ladies and gentlemen, we honor Terrence Lester with the 2024 Samaritan Award.
Praise God. And I want to remind somebody tonight as I receive this award to remind you that although you may be struggling or suffering or find yourself with your back against the wall, as Howard Thurman suggests, we serve a God that is still able to do the impossible. We serve a God that is still able to lift up your head.
Let's extend a warm welcome to our first Pink Spotlight tonight, Ricky Farley and her beautiful daughters, Haley and Amanda.
I am a 13-year survivor of triple-negative breast cancer. My doctor gave me 2 years to live. I'm on 13. Black women under the age of 35 get breast cancer at twice the rate of white women and die at 3 times the rate, well before they would have that first mammogram at age 40. As of last week, we have now signed up 20,000 black women for clinical trial portals in the last 2 years. Welcome to the stage, the 2024 Warrior Award recipient, LaSonia Jackson.
I happen to be the only majority African American owner of a professional hockey team in America. And I'm here to tell you that I am 100% cancer-free. Yes.
To the one and only queen of 4. You had vision when no one had vision.
So I just say to those who have survived, may you continue to thrive. And healing is not on an occasion. Take this on as a way of life.
Please direct your attention and celebrate Mr. Devon Franklin.
Oh, wow. First of all, just thank you to the Pink Awards. You know, I was raised in the church, and everybody told me at a young age, if you go to Hollywood, you're going to lose your faith. Those that said don't go didn't know.
Please help me welcome the 2024 Trailblazer Award recipient, my bishop, William H. Murphy III.
To all those of you who are in a fight, who are about to go into a fight, who have finished a fight, we say to God be the glory for the things that he has done. Somebody open your mouth and give God praise tonight. Thank you.
In the black community, especially black women, they're affected by breast cancer more than any other ethnic group.
It is such an honor to be here with my Pink Sisters today.
I went through 21 cycles of chemo.
I am a 7-year survivor.
35 sessions of radiation.
So much about the survival rate has everything to do with the treatment, but it also has everything to do with the mindset.
God's plans will always outweigh man's plans. Hope is a survivor's superpower.
I went through 8 surgeries and I'm still here.
I'm standing here today.
Be courageous.
I'm empowered to tell others there is hope.
Pink Awards, man. Thank you, April Love.
All right, that is a wonderful video from last year's Pink Awards, just to let you know a little bit about the energy in the room. Last year, they honored Devon Franklin, obviously Bishop William Murphy, Jazzy
That's
Faye.
amazing.
Yeah,
wow.
Jazzy Faye. So, yes,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of April. I've been able to witness the Pink Awards from the very first one here in Atlanta, and I'm gonna drop in for a little bit, so I'll definitely have some footage to bring you guys on Monday. But outside of attending, I know a lot of our viewers are not in Atlanta. If you want to donate, you can go to the website and donate as well. As you heard in the video, African-American women deal with breast cancer twice as much, women over the age of 35, 2 times as much as others. And it's important for us. I sincerely believe, and I always say this, in the old African proverb, physician, heal thyself. We have the means within our community to help ourselves and to help each other. And I believe that's our responsibility and our duty. And I believe we do it better than anyone else. So if you are so moved, please go to the website and the Pink Awards, and you can donate to an amazing cause. Like I said, I'll definitely have footage from the event on Saturday for Monday's show.
Awesome. Yeah, that looks like a good show. I want to check that out at some point in time. I come to Atlanta and I can come see that event because that's a meaningful cause. So yes, please donate. Please go donate. Support.
The website is the Pink Awards 2026.rsvpify.com. And I'll put that here in the chat. If you guys want to, even if you just buy a ticket for someone else, it's an amazingly worthy cause, and we want to support our sister April Love in what she's doing, and just want to give her flowers. That would be a good idea for Lenox Parker to present her flowers at this event. So yeah. So we wanted to start off on a positive note today.
That's positive. That's real positive. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes. So the news is not always positive, but
it's not.
We have the ability to start and to keep the perspective from a positive standpoint. And so that's what we are doing here. So moving on into the news, there is more from, of course, President Trump and the Swalwell and Gonzalez. There's just politics in the news as well. The first thing is the appeals court ends contempt inquiry into Trump administration's deportation flights. Federal appeals court has delivered a major win for the Trump administration, shutting down a year-long criminal contempt investigation against senior officials over last year's deportation flights. At the center of the case is the March 2025 removal of more than 130 Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador's notorious COCOT mega prison, carried out under the rarely invoked 1798 Alien Enemies Act. District Judge James Boasberg had issued an emergency order to halt the deportations, but the flights continued anyway. He later found probable cause for criminal contempt and launched an investigation into who gave the order. Today, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 to shut that investigation down, calling it a clear abuse of discretion. The two judges in the majority were both Trump appointees. No surprise there. The dissenting Biden appointee fired back with an 80-page opinion, warning the ruling effectively makes court orders unenforceable. But the ACLU says it will appeal. The Trump administration is calling it a victory for the rule of the law. Victor, what do you think about this?
It's a mess. As I said earlier in the last broadcast, I believe there'll be a lot of once Trump leaves office and this administration is dissolved, there'll be a lot, and I mean a lot of changes happening in law, because they have broken and they have amended and they have done so many things to disrupt their legal system. That it's not good, because these guys go to court and they tie up the court with all of these rulings and all of these, they have a lot of money, so they can go in and they can tie up the court as long as they want to. And there's laws already put in place for how things are supposed to happen. And then they go in and they go in and do what they want to do, and then they deal with the consequences afterwards.
Right.
There's a lot of things that are going to have to be reversed or fixed when they leave office, because they have done things that would mess up the way how the regular things flow. So, for instance, if I was to go to court and the paperwork said you have 30 days to apply for something, they went and changed it to you have 10 days. Now, the court system is already backed up. There's so many cases the courts can deal with on a daily basis. And in most cases, the courts are backed up. especially after COVID. So when you shorten times for approval of things, and then you move things around, and people don't have the means to move, and we know the government's slow to begin with. They do stuff slow. You apply for something, you got to wait, weeks. So if you tell me I can't do something, I have to have it done in 5 days, but the court is telling me I can't get to it in 20 days. That puts you in a gray space because you're jammed up now, and that's a lot that's been going on. So yeah, it's a mess, And then you got smaller courts and bigger courts, and it's just a mess. It's a complete mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think that some of this is bureaucratic red tape that is unnecessary. It does seem to always be an issue when it comes to court cases, but I think there's so much going on today and in real time that it's hard for, I think, the public and even for us to comprehend and digest, something that happened. This is the flights that the deportation has already happened. And we are dealing with so much more. I mean, every day a new infraction happens. And I want to say, our next story is proof that I believe the only thing from my perspective, and this is our opinion, some things are not facts, they're opinion. I believe that the only true place that you can place your faith is in God. It's not in either party, because there is so much immorality and moral decay on both sides, right? So we see this story is that one of the governors, a candidate for governor rather, has been ousted or on his own recognizance, I guess. He's kind of removed himself, but two members of Congress resigned Tuesday, one a Democrat, one a Republican, both under the threat of expulsion over separate sexual misconduct scandals. California Democrat Eric Swalwell stepped down effective 2 p.m. Eastern yesterday, days after CNN published allegations from 4 women accusing him of sexual assault and misconduct, including rape, all of which he denies. However, he did resign and has also said he will not run moving forward. On the other hand, Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez followed just hours later, announcing his retirement after the House Ethics Committee opened a probe into his acknowledged affair with a former staffer who later died by suicide. Both faced near certain expulsion votes engineered by members of the opposite party, a deliberate bipartisan strategy designed so neither side would gain a seat in the razor-thin House majority. It's crazy that, you know what? I believe the first time we saw this was with President Clinton. You remember that?
The moral decay of America. Yes, that's what I always said. Yeah.
I don't want to put it all on his shoulders, but I think the way it's played out with the Republicans going after his personal life and making that a point in attempting to impeach him because he lied about having an affair with an intern working at the White House. And at that point we saw, because he was publicly embarrassed, his family was humiliated, he was put on trial in front of the country. The trial was on,
24/7. Yeah, he was the biggest thing. Yeah.
It was the biggest thing, and we've almost forgot about that, at this point, because things have changed so much. But I believe that was the first time that we saw one political party using personal ethics and behavior to rule out someone or take away their political power to benefit the other side. And in this case, we see both sides were doing the same thing, men in power. Both sides were using that power. And the Democrats were doing research into the Republicans, and the Republicans were doing research into the I think that, I understand that people are very outraged with what is going on with one side, but let me tell you, all of this corrupt, activity is happening, and it is not focused on one side. It is both sides.
Men of power.
And it's we have a corrupt political system, and when we can see now, there are certain people that do things corrupt loud and there are other things that do them very covert. And I think that there are other presidents that have done things in a much more covert way. This one that we have now is very loud and very over the top. I don't know what's happening. But what I do want to say is both political parties, I don't think one can claim to be moral and the other can claim not to be. Like there is the same thing is happening on both sides under different disguises. So you can claim a political party all you want. You've got to know that at the end of the day, all of this is happening. Money is being misused. Scandals are, things are being covered up and handled. And really, we just have to, I think we need to look at policy and we need to focus on what is important to us and not get caught up in the politics of it all, because we see that both sides are doing the same thing. Anytime you are leveraging someone's, and I think it's wrong. I do think that both these men should have resigned.
A long time ago. Yeah.
The Swalwell, there's video. I don't know how the Republicans got video of him in what appeared to be a hotel room with a woman. But it just proves that this is something that the average person is being used as a pawn, and both sides are committing and committed to the same type of debauchery. So
there's a lot to add to the context of that. There's a lot of even outside of politics, right? We have AI. So AI videos could be something that people see a lot. Deep fake, they call it, right? There's that part of it. There's the political side of stuff that we know is like corruption and whatever the case is. And then there's also, I forgot I was going to say it. So there's AI, there's that part. I forget it. I forgot I was going to say it. But it's a mess. I mean, no, it really is. It's hard to look at it because, I was going to remember. And then there's movies, right? And TV shows like Scandal and like House of Cards. So we've seen the behind the scenes. We know.
It just shameless
and
plug.
Perfect Women,
which we will be doing an IG chat about at 2 p.m. today.
Yes.
Shameless
plug. Please join that chat, women. No, but seriously, it's so you have all of those things going at. So we as the consumer or the public can look at it and say, okay, well, we see in TV shows, movies, we know there's deep fakes, we know all this stuff going on, and it's really about, like you said, policies and not personalities. But it's hard to divide the two because you have a person that says, I'm going to run on these causes, and you believe them because you're like, I believe in what you're doing. But then on the other side, they have these traits and these things that they do that you don't pretty much know behind the scenes. And then when it comes out, it's like, man, I voted for you. I supported what you was about. And here you are, acting different. So it's hard to balance both.
I want to ask you, and I want to ask anyone that's watching this via IG or Facebook, I guess the question that we have to ask ourselves as voters, right, is if we believe, because for Swalwell, he was the front runner in the California governor's race. And so he went, that's a very dramatic fall, right? If we believe in a policy that someone is behind and that they are pushing, does it matter if their personal life does not necessarily reflect those ideals? Because I would say that anyone who is human has the ability to make a mistake, right? Or from pastors to judges, to politicians, to the average doctor, to, someone that works for the post office. Everybody has the ability to do something that they may not want to stand up publicly, and it may not align with what they say they believe, right? But at what point do a person's moral actions interfere with their ability to push a political platform, right? So if I believe in something that one politician is doing, but he's having an affair on his wife, because that seems to be sexual immorality seems to be the buzz for disgrace.
It's crazy.
Which is happening everywhere on both sides. But if a person is pushing a policy that I believe in, say that has to do with, let's say, health insurance, that's something that we can, it's not a hot topic to disagree on. We both sides understand that we need better health care, right? Better insurance for children and seniors, people, but particularly children and seniors. If that person is pushing this policy that I believe will help, does it matter if they are involved in a relationship, immoral relationship with one of their workers? Does that factor into their ability to push this policy that I believe in?
So yes, it does, because when you take the office, the oath of office or whatever, you're a public servant of the people.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a private corporation, then it doesn't matter, because you're a private company, and whatever you do behind closed doors, that's your business. If you're a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, and that's that. But if you're a public servant and you are being paid by the public, tax dollars, you are being your money's coming from the place that we put our money into, taxpayers' money, then there are certain oaths that you take that are guidelines that are put in place to say, hey, these are the 10 guidelines that you got to follow. And if you don't follow these guidelines, then you have to move out of the office. Moral clauses, whatever the case is all included in that, because you're representing people, not yourself. If you were let's say a ball player or a trash collector or whatever you want to call environmental specialist, whatever the term is, that's different. But when you're a public office person, you have oaths that you take, and so that because what happens is now you have to be almost like a blank slate in a way, like you're representing the people, the constituents of your area. That's part of what it is. I think there's some accountability involved in that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but I also think if that's the case, then who can be a politician? Because I don't think there are these upstanding moral men in power, or men and or women in power.
Okay, but there's a difference. There's a difference between SA and cheating. So if you cheat on your wife with another woman, and that's condoned, and that's whatever, that's not good. But there's a level of difference between that and assault by 4 or 5 different women, and we know once you say 4 women, it's probably 10 or 12. You know what I'm saying? Because it didn't just start yesterday. This started when you were in before, years ago. College. You could take it back further, right? So it becomes a place where you harm somebody. It's not like you. If you it's different between me taking drugs for myself and me selling drugs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I can go to rehab because I took drugs, but I can go to jail if I'm selling drugs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and both are bad, but then one is I'm harming myself, and the other one I'm harming other people. So that's what I think the difference is right there.
Yeah, I guess. But how are we going to? You're right, Tammy. SA is a crime. Actually, having an affair with a subordinate is a crime, right?
Is a crime, yeah.
There may be different levels of.
Is it a crime, or is it? Do you get fired for that? I don't think it's a.
Well, it depending on how it's done and what.
Oh yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So if someone feels pressured because of their job, right? It's crazy. So like we see what's going on with the former Michigan coach, right? Is he actually? I believe he got sentenced to 18 months probation, but it's definitely a problem. But I just don't. I think that's a slippery slope to go down, and I think most, especially with politicians, right? Because how would you control that? How can you control who is being inappropriate, and then what comes out if a person is able to be bought? You could have people on one side setting people up. Like it's a never-ending, rabbit hole to go down. Because I could say, if I'm a Democrat and I want a Republican out of office, I could literally send a woman in with the intent of seducing him.
Honey trap. Honey pot, honey, whatever it's called. Yeah. No, I get it. But I mean, but even companies, like if you work for a financial company, let's say you work for a company that handles large sums of money, you have to follow guidelines. You can't trade, or you can't do things without getting approval from the company, because then you have insider trading issues. Like there are guidelines set up for stuff like this that happens. Whether or not people get complacent in positions of power, and when you feel like you're above the law or you've done things, and people look the other way, then you feel like you can get by the system. So you're like, I'm in the system. I know what to do. There's checks and balances. As long as I can follow within these guidelines, yeah, she's not going to come out. I paid her the 10 grand to shut up or whatever the case is. She's going to be quiet or make that go away, for so long, then things happen. And we've seen it with men of power, whether it be Epstein or Weinstein or Combs or Cosby. We could go down the list of people that have bought and paid their way through things. And we know that when it comes to positions of power, the people that support you and the people around you that have more power than you would do enough to keep you where you are until they don't need you anymore. And then it's like, okay, we can let it come out now. Because we always wonder, how did these things get leaked into the press?
Right.
How did this video come out? How did it get to, Yeah, so we live in a day and age where you can be bought and paid for by the highest bidder. We've seen that with documentary of Combs and stuff like that. So
right, as Sean P. Diddy Combs, as I keep hearing, may get out actually pretty soon. So you know what? This brings us to another point that I think is interesting. Another story I think is kind of how do you dictate morality versus ethical integrity and all of these things, right? When it comes to politics or when it comes to just business and, as a whole. Stormy Wellington, who is one of the biggest names in influencer marketing. Well, they call it, there's a lot of different words for what she does, but what she has done. So
MLM.
Yeah, multi-level marketing, right? Stormy Wellington was building an empire. Now the FTC is coming for it. So like I said, Stormy Wellington is a very popular figure. In addition to the fact that she is one of the biggest names in multi-level marketing, she also is very big on social media. Outside of that, she was on a television show called Beyond the Pole that aired on TV. And then she also was on another show that was canceled right as it started. I was thinking something was Bosses, and she was supposed to be inspiring. And so she's a very polarizing figure because Stormy's way of motivating people to become wealthy as she is to, some people have an issue with the way she does it, right? So now the FTC has filed a complaint against her, and she is as a motivational coach and entrepreneur, alleging that she made deceptive income promises to recruit women into 2 direct sales companies, Total Life Changes and Pharmacy. Wellington, who rose from foster care and poverty to become the #1 female network marketer in the world, reportedly promised recruits they would earn no less than 6 figures and pledged to create 60 new millionaires in 2026. So my question is this. There's a difference between, and I saw this, shouts out to Lajane, a friend of mine, another journalist that kind of followed this case and was able to add some clarity to it, right? So a lot of people were thinking, oh, well, she's doing fraud. She's not being accused of fraud, right? She's being accused of basically coercing or not necessarily being deceptive, but being deceptive, but not being fraudulent. So the difference between being deceptive and being fraudulent is that deceptive versus fraud is not the same thing. So this is Lajane, shouts out to the Docket Diva. She says that deceptive and the word fraud are 2 different things. Fraud requires intent. You have to prove someone deliberately meant to deceive people. That's a criminal standard prosecuted by the Department of Justice, and it's also much harder to prove. Deceptive is different because it suggests that under Section 5 of the FTC Act, which prohibits unfair or deceptive acts or practices, the FTC has only to show that your claims misled consumers and affected their decisions. Intent doesn't matter, but impact does. So her saying that she's going to create 60 new millionaires and she's going to and basically she gets people in a frenzy. A lot of times, in my opinion, there are people that are a little bit more weak-minded that believe, everything that I've been doing is wrong, and this woman has got it. Maybe if I listen to her and do exactly what she says, I'll have this. There's a certain combination of fear, shame, and humiliation. So if you make someone afraid, right, of their future, and then you shame them on their practices right now, right, and then you show them what you have, that combination could create a very loyal follower, right? And she has people that will, we sat and watched a woman allow her to degrade her on social media. And the woman didn't really stand up for herself, because I think some people need to believe in something so bad that they are willing to be voluntarily deceived, if that's such a thing. I think they're willing to be voluntarily deceived. I don't think any person has your answer. But if you, as an adult, a full grown adult with your own money and your own mind, and you decide to buy into what someone is telling you, with them basically manipulating your emotions against you, should that person be held liable? Or do you have some responsibility in your deception?
I mean, I think it's both. I think it's both. But people want hope. I mean, people buy into your lifestyle. These celebrities and these people that have these platforms, especially MLM. I've been to a few MLM things in my day. Whether it be there's a money one. I forgot what it's called. There's a few different ones. There's Mary Kay. You can go. There's the one with the calling cards, ACN back in the day. There's a whole bunch of MLM things that you can look at, but people want a better life, so people try to go after things that will make their life easier, not necessarily get rich quick schemes. For the most part, people have realized that doesn't work or exist, but we're always looking for a better way to live. And with the world changing as fast as it is, it's almost like we are bombarded every single day, especially on social media. Do this, Prime America. There you go. Thank you, Edna. Prime America. Yes. They promise, if you get 50 customers, then you'll get, this much money, and they'll pay out all this time, and then you get this car, and you get this watch, and but we live in a day and age where social media, where people come on and they tell you, do these 5 things, and then if you post every single day, if you stay consistently posting, you'll get you'll go viral, and then your life will change. And so we're fed these things. We've seen also the social media companies like Facebook and TikTok have sat in congressional hearings because they have caused harm to people's mental being, kids. So just imagine if a kid is being told, whatever on social media, and they listen. I mean, adults do the same thing too. So I think we have people have responsibilities when it comes to business practices to, don't be dishonest. And a lot of this stuff is misleading, like Tammy said. A lot of it is misleading. Like people will tell you, yeah.
It is misleading, but I do think people need hope. I think people want hope. I think that's hope is probably the biggest commodity, right? I think if you can convince someone, if you can tap into their hope, you can convince them to do anything. I've seen people mortgage their homes, take money out of their children's food, grocery money in order for some hope at something bigger. And I do think that there needs to be a way to punish people that are deliberately misleading people. But I also think that in this age of information, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to do your due diligence as a person that is responsible for their own, their own livelihood.
I mean, that's true, but that's
responsible for making better decisions for yourself. Like if it's children, if it's young people, I can see that, right? I do feel like we just talked about Monday, the entire government bullied us into all getting vaccinations, right? And they use fear, they use manipulation, and all these things, right? And they also hid information that would lead elsewhere. So I think that if Stormy's going to be, brought up on charges, shouldn't the government be brought up on charges for basically doing the same thing to us with
Yeah.
this
I
vaccination?
mean, a lot of these corporations.
Yeah, like but people tune in and they are based on wherever they are. If they're going through something, if they're feeling hopeless, they're a lot more, vulnerable to being manipulated and being, taken advantage of. But at some point you have to turn the internet off, turn social media off, and realize there is no magic pill. There is no God that is going to come in the form of someone on social media telling you to do exactly what they say to, become a multimillionaire. It's just not, there are no shortcuts, and I think people have to stop buying into people and start realizing that they have the ability to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and physician heal thyself. But I mean, the blind.
No, but we have the same issue with gambling. All these gambling apps. People have addictive personalities, and so for every, there's always something. There's a vice for everybody out there, whether it be QVC or gambling or TikTok or whatever platform that they have out there. They target people, and they know that there are people that are going to buy into it regardless. Like we talked about before with the whole AI and the phone calls that maybe your mom might get to have a kid's voice or whatever. There's a lot of deception in the world when it comes to marketing. And companies, let's be honest, a lot of these major companies have money put aside for when things go wrong that they can pay out. They know they're being deceptive. They said, well, let's keep going. The pharmaceutical company, let's keep going. You know what I'm saying? We'll cure your rash, but then you have 20 different symptoms to go with that. Yeah. Deceptive, right? And so they put the money aside and they pay out afterwards. So it's a crazy game.
It is. I'm interested to see how this is gonna play out. Yesterday, after the headlines went viral, Stormy got on Instagram and with gospel music playing, said that her steps were ordered and no weapons formed against her would prosper. I'm not, that's completely, up to, we don't know what's going to happen with it, but I do think that as consumers and as people with our own, we have to do better in trying to make sure that we're taking care of our own, practice your due diligence, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of times people are just looking for something that can be quick and easy, and they may feel like they may not have the confidence in themselves. And so they may feel like if I connect with this person and do what they say because they're successful, I'll be able to make it. And a lot of times you don't know what's really going on in that person's life, right? You have no idea. And then also we're asking someone to have a moral backbone who grew up in survival. Stormy, I've interviewed her before. Stormy grew up in survival and an environment of survival. So her outlook on life is to kill or be killed. It's not necessarily to nurture and to, I think she's trying to empower people in her own way, but she may not be, she may not have the moral compass that someone that grew up in a different environment does, Yeah. So you have to be careful and pay attention to who you're listening to,
Yeah, a lot of these businesses practice the same style of business. Just keep going and just keep making money, steamroll everything,
It is. If you're listening to someone who is shaming you for where you're at, who is using themselves as an example of the ultimate goal, who is bragging about their materialistic things, it's very easy. The formula is very simple.
That sounds like a pastor. I didn't want to say that aloud, but yeah.
That's fair.
Some pastors do that,
No, you're at somebody. So
you didn't pay your tithes this Sunday. God is not going to bless you. Look where you are. You could be in a different space if you were faithful. And like, what?
Yeah. Anytime fear, shame, humility, and making themselves bigger than life, chances are that's not where you need to be, right? And and you're right, Victor. Pastors actually should be more held accountable to a higher standard because they are doing that in the name of God. However, if you're listening to someone on social media that's talking about real estate, and the first thing they do is they always ask you, they try to make you feel bad about where you're at.
Yeah.
They make you afraid of, if you don't take this chance with them, what can happen. And then they show you all the things that they have. That actually sounds like when Satan tempted Jesus and he was like, look at all that I have and look at all I could give you. Like, are you hungry? Like, it is the same formula. And I just think, as opposed to looking at those people, we should teach people to be stronger. You should not, as an adult, you should not go on Instagram and feel pressured to do what another person that is your peer would say. Like, that is crazy. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
absolutely
that
nuts.
is.
So, all right. Well, I know I've got to jump today. We've got this 2:00 IG conversation on imperfect women that I can't wait for.
Okay.
And then I also have a very inspirational conversation with a very just inspirational woman coming up that's coming to Lenox Parker shortly. So I am going to jump. Victor, are you going to finish up, or do you think we should just end up for today?
Let's end up for today. Yeah, let's just end up for today on a positive note.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, we appreciate you guys. I'm going to quickly give you all the vision for today. The vision quote, inspirational quote for today is that sight locks you into the life you have. Vision unlocks the life you want. Sight sees what is, vision sees what could be. Even deeper, sight accepts reality and vision transforms it. So going back to what we were talking about with these people on social media, people trying to encourage you to give them your money, your time, you have to first be able to have your own vision. Sounds a lot like faith, right? Seeing what's right in front of us is one thing. We see what's in front of us is just a few people watching today, but we have the vision and the faith to know that this audience is going to continue to grow and things are going to look different in a short time. And so it's vision that propels you forward. And faith comes by hearing and speaking, right? So it's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You're able to see what is not in front of you by visualizing it and walking towards that vision. Then you can go wherever you have the ability and the faith to go. So we want to leave you guys with that note. We love you all for watching. Please tune in to Lenox Parker. We have some amazing content that is dropping this week. We're still celebrating women all month long. We have she built the table that she built awards. That content is coming out. We're so proud of that. We also have an interview with Stormy Steele from Canvas Beauty that is going to be dropping later today, and so much more. So check out Lenox Parker, and we'll see you right here on Friday with, of course, Jamal Bottom Line Burke for sports.
Oh, wait a minute. One more last thing. IG today, 2:00, is it?
2 p.m. 2
2
p.m. We're talking about
yes.
It's a girls' chat. You guys can join me over there. I'm going to be with Xaviera from Ice Cream Combos, and also Michelle Wright, radio host and communications pro. We're going to just be having a girlfriends chat on Imperfect Women. Thank you, Victor, for the reminder that you guys check me out on Lenox Parker's IG at 2 p.m.
See you guys later. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Have a beautiful day, guys.
Okay.